You are the lowest form of life on earth. You are not even human fucking beings. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
Just like the guy in Full Metal Jacket, for 3 years, James Hollon of Delta Company was responsible for training thousands of new recruits headed to the war in Iraq and Afghanistan.
An instant obedience to a direct order. That's it. That's what they need to have, an instant obedience to a direct order. Anytime they did something that they weren't supposed to, to me it was, you're going to die, you're going to get someone else killed. That's how I looked at it. That was my biggest fear. That was my biggest fear in combat, was never dying. It was someone else dying or being hurt because of something I did or didn't do. That was the biggest fear ever.
I'm John Hotchkiss, the host of Be Less Stupid, and I'd like to tell you about James Hollon. As a member of the infantry, he did 5 tours of duty in active combat in both Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan.
Okay, so remember, I got PTSD that's based off of hyper alertness, right? Being hyper alert, always being able to manage a situation. So imagine every time I go somewhere in public with my family, I'm constantly thinking if something were to happen, what do I got to do to protect myself and protect them? And then all of a sudden, you can't use your dominant arm. Push this around and put something in.
While on duty, James Hollon also suffered devastating injuries.
Yes, I've had quite a bit of concussions. I was knocked out from blasts, so like an IED blast, improvised explosive device. I believe in my record there was the doctor that did the TBI examination before I got out told me there was 14.
In total, James gave the Marines 12 and a half years of service. And yet, the Veterans Administration forced him to wait 5 years to have his injuries operated on. Like thousands of other vets, our government has abandoned James Hollon and his family. When James finally was operated on this past January, the Veterans Administration actually made his injuries considerably worse. So you used to have 75% motion, and now you got...
I can move my elbow. So is that about 10 in your arm? Move my hand, my wrist, my elbow. Other than that...
Plus, his disability claim has been denied by the state of Oregon, not once, but twice.
You okay?
Yeah. I just keep, yeah.
In this long journey to get him services, we've used up savings. We've actually traveled from Oregon to California and back for outside private sector programs to try to get him the treatment for TBI, PTSD, the surgery, because of the issues that we face working within the VA circles. So when the only help and assistance that you can get, that you can count on, is from family and friends and the military community, that really just lets veterans and spouses and family know that the VA isn't reliable, that we still have to take care of our own and each other once we come home, and we're supposed to be taken care of by the VA, because that's what they promised our veterans and our families.
And worst of all, on July 1st, 2017, Staff Sergeant James Hollon and his family will be homeless.
The VA and the government work in terms of 3 months, 6 months, a year, and our bills are due 30 days. So we're getting to the point where we say, we need some help transitioning some resources to prevent us from becoming homeless. And the way that it's set up, sadly, is there are none.
You can be the first to see this exclusive story the day it premieres by liking our Facebook page. But first, can you please make a donation to James Hollon and his family so they can stay together in a proper home while he recovers?
But as far as wanting to give up, you bet. It was right here in this building that I wanted to give up. Like I told you, there was a point I got tired of seeing my wife get off the phone with people from the VA or the state of Oregon crying and just bawling because she couldn't get anywhere with it. And I was fed up. I saw her get off the phone crying once more. And she's a very strong woman, and so for her to cry, it's very serious. So it really ate me up, and I got on the phone immediately. I called statewide services for vets in Oregon, and I explained to the lady. I said, "Listen, I'm a combat veteran that's having a lot of problems, a lot of issues right now, and I feel like I'm getting tossed around, passed around left and right, and nobody's answering my questions. And me and my family are struggling, and I was like, I'm seriously at a point where I'm going to put a pistol in my mouth. I'm going to pull the trigger." And I was like, "So I want you to understand what I'm telling you." And the lady, she put me on hold. She said, "Can I place you on hold for a second?" I said, "You do what you think you need to do." So she put me on hold for about 3 or 4 minutes. She came back and she told me, she gave me the number to another location, someone else to call in Portland. And I was like, "Wait, let me get this correct. I just called you and told you that I'm sick of being passed around, and that I'm having some real issues, that I'm thinking about killing myself, and you're telling me to call someone else." Yeah, I was ready to give up. I was ready to quit, for sure.
I would urge you to please share this story on social media. Thanks very much.